and welcome to episode 257 of Board Game Blitz, a podcast about all things board games that you can listen to in less time than it takes to figure out how to pay for parking at a Vegas casino. Board Game Blitz is sponsored by Grey Fox Games. This week we're talking about Dice Tower West. Crystal is unfortunately sick and couldn't make it to the convention or this recording, so I'm going solo with a little help from my kids to talk about our time at the convention and in Vegas. And now, I'm your host, Ambie. Alright, so I'm here by myself to talk about Dice Tower West. First, I'm going to talk about all the games I played because I just had a weekend pass. We flew into Vegas Thursday night, went to the convention Friday and Saturday, and then flew out Sunday. And then I was with my kids, with my whole family, so convention time was very limited, but I did manage to play, I think, 7 games total. Most of them were partial plays. So first on Friday, we were going to go mini painting because a lot of times with my kids, I just go mini painting. They love mini painting. So we actually did that both Friday and Saturday. But we also walked by the Hot Games table and noticed that Hot Streak was there and there was no one there. And I had wanted to try Hot Streak. That was on my list of games I want to try. So we tried Hot Streak. My kids were there. And so, we were trying to set it up, learning it, and actually it was already set up because it was at the Hot Games. The Hot Games section at the convention is all these games that are hot, new games that people are going to want to play. And so they have them already set up at the tables, just always set up, and then you'll play and then reset it up for the next people. But yeah, I did still take some time to read the rules, and then my kids were getting impatient because they wanted to go paint. But we did play one round, and this is a betting racing game. There's these little mascots. It had some fun toy factor, and my kids played some. You pick cards to go into a deck. Everyone has 3 cards, I think, and you pick one of them to remove, or I forget exactly how we did it. But you also are betting on which mascot you want to win. There's 4 mascots, and they're going to be doing things like moving forward spaces or moving over to the right or left, and if they go off the track, they lose and they're out of the race, and if they fall over, then they can't move until they recover. And so the cards do different things like that, and you'll see a lot of the cards, so you can, when you're betting, you're like, oh, I think they're gonna do well, but then 3 of the cards aren't in, after you shuffle the deck, you take 3 of them and you don't use those cards. I think Crystal talked about this game, so you can go back and listen to that episode to know exactly how it plays. But we played 1 round. It was fun. My kid would move. They liked moving the figures because it's a little toy that you're moving around. But then my kids were okay, let's stop playing now. But yeah, I could see this being a game that I would like playing because it had a similar feeling to Ready, Set, Bet. And that's what our friend was saying too. Oh, it's like Ready, Set, Bet. But I think it's way more party feeling. So I think it fits the theme of betting mascot racing, silly betting racing game. So that was Hot Streak. I'm glad I got to play a little bit of that. And then that afternoon, I got to play a demo of If Then. This was a cooperative deduction game from Arcane Wonders. So we played the demo in the vendor hall, the exhibitor hall. We walked around and we're looking at some of the games. But If Then is a cooperative deduction game, and one person is the knower of all. I forget what they're called, but they know the rules. And so there's a deck of a bunch of rules in the game, and so you pick one of them, and the rule is an if-then statement. And so there's cards that are double-sided, there's a top number and a bottom number if you flip it over, and then each number has 4 attributes. So there's the background color, the color of the number, the value of the number from 1 through 9, and the size of the number. They're small, medium, and large. And so the if-then statement will be if the current card has a blue background, then the next one has to be a red background. Otherwise, play a yellow background or something like that. So you don't know this. Only the knower of things knows it. And then everyone else is just playing cards and trying to get rid of their cards and kind of figure out what the if-then statement is by getting rid of them, kind of. So this felt kind of like Things in Rings, but a cooperative version of it. We played a level 1 game. There's different levels where the if-then statements get more complicated, I think. Level 1, it only is 1 attribute that you worry about. You don't know which one. So we got a pattern, and we managed to get rid of all our cards, which is the win condition. Another win condition is figuring out the rule. So we didn't actually figure out the rule exactly because we didn't have all the things played, and we didn't have an elegant rule for what we had played. But we managed to play correctly enough and get rid of the cards. So that was kind of interesting. And then we went to Bonzinator's meetup. Bonzinator is a Twitch streamer, and she has a meetup at Dice Tower Con with a lot of people. It's fun. She plays games, has a raffle. And so I played one of the games she had was Happy Salmon, so I tried to play that with my kids. And we actually did play through the full game, except for my kids were cheating. Because like in Happy Salmon, you have a deck of cards, you flip over one card and it says like high five or fist bump or something, and you find a match with someone else and then do that action and then discard the card. But my kids were just like discarding the cards even when they didn't have a match. So we got through the deck, but I think they didn't quite understand the rules or just weren't playing by the rules. But they were having fun doing the actions. That's a fun party game. Then that night, after my kids went to bed, I came back with Toby and our friend, and we played a couple of games. We got Quicksand and Take Time from the library. So Take Time was one that was on my want to play list, and so was Quicksand actually. I had forgotten about it though. So Quicksand is a real-time cooperative game similar to Kites. It has sand timers. So the sand timers are on these colored tiles that you put out. So there's going to be like a red, blue, and yellow and gray colored tiles that have different shapes on them too. Like one will have squares, one will have circles. They don't match the colors. So I'm not sure how colorblind finally that is. And then you have a deck of cards that has either the shape or a color. And when you play that card, you're going to flip over the sand timers that are on that shape or color. All of them. So like if there's a sand timer on a triangle that's yellow and then one that's on a blue triangle, if you play a yellow, then only the yellow triangle one will flip. But if you play a triangle, then both of those triangles will flip. You flip them and move them forward and trying to like get them all to move forward all the way to the end of the path. And then you don't want the sand timers to run out. So similar feeling to Kites. We played the basic game and we won, and that was fun. I like real-time cooperative games. And then Take Time is a cooperative deduction limited communication game. It has a similar feeling to The Mind, but it's got like a campaign, like a lot of games nowadays. Bomb Busters, The Crew, a lot of games have different chapters. So this had like different chapters and different clocks. I think they call them 4 clocks in each chapter. I think that's what they're called. But each clock is a game and it has different rules in it. But the basic rules is you're going to be playing cards around this clock face. There's 6 segments in the clock, and so you are going to have cards in each segment. You have to play all cards. You're going to have 12 cards between you, and you're going to play them all down, face down into the clock segments. Some of them can be face up, depending on how many players there are, but most of the time it's face down, and you can't talk when you're playing them. But before you play, there's a discussion phase. So you talk and just figure out all your strategy before you start playing, but then when you play, there's no communication. And at the end, you want the segments to be in order, kind of. So like the sum of the cards in each segment has to increase. In the first few levels, it's kind of like an intro thing. And then there's some other rules like, oh, this one has to have just 1 white card, or this one has to have exactly 3 cards in this segment. But then later, another rule is that none of the sums can exceed 24. So like at first, it's pretty easy to do like the later segment. You just make it really big, all the big numbers there. But if you do that later, you can't make it exceed 24. So you're not sure what people are playing. When we played, Toby was just like, okay, let's just start. We don't need discussion. And so we failed. And then we started again really quick. Actually, like for the second clock or something, it worked where we didn't actually have that much discussion. We talked a little bit, but not that much discussion. And we did it like the second time we won. So we kind of like figured out what we needed to do. But I think it's better if there is at least some discussion in the game. Instead of just going, but it did have a very similar feeling to The Mind, especially the way we played with not that much discussion, because we're like, what are they playing here? And then like choosing when to play a card face up is also important too, because like if you're playing on the pile that you want to be high, but you only have low cards, then you might want to play it face up so people know. So we actually played through the whole first chapter, which is 4 clocks. We played, I think, 9 times. One of those might not have counted because we didn't quite know all the rules yet. But yeah, so I guess it was about 2 times per game where we like failed and then won. So that was fun. Take Time. That was probably my favorite new game of the convention. And Crystal actually was asking what's my favorite game played at the con. So yeah, Take Time is that. She also asked what I most like to teach to Crystal. So probably also Take Time. Not much variety in my answers here, because there weren't that many games I got to play. And then Saturday I played 2 games. If we're excluding craps, which I played in the casino, and I watched Toby play. I didn't play. But I played the Sandcastles of Burgundy, which is a Castles of Burgundy for kids. We played through like a couple of rounds, and then my kids were like, let's go do something else. I think they wanted to go paint minis, yeah. They got tired of playing it. But the game also had like a lot of rules. So they were impatient while I was reading the rules. But it is a basic Castles of Burgundy type game. I don't know. I haven't played Castles of Burgundy much, but it didn't feel that much like it, but you're rolling dice and then the dice have colors and you pick one of two actions to do with your dice. You can either pick up a sandcastle in the middle of the board. They're all hiding decorations in there, which are like little tokens. And so you pick up one of that color and then you can grab a decoration and put it in your warehouse. Or you can take a dice and then take a decoration of that color from your warehouse and then put it in your cart and move it over to your board and decorate your board. And you're like trying to decorate your buildings and you want two of each color so that your buildings get decorated. And then there's also like special little animals that want to go into that building. So if you find that animal that matches that building under the sandcastle, there's one of each of the three colors, then they get to move into your decorated building if you find it first, and you get an extra point for that. But we didn't get to that part because my kids, I think after like one round something, they were like, okay, we're done. So that was the Sandcastles of Burgundy. And then after lunch on Saturday, we played Unlock Secret Adventures, which my kids will tell you about in the next segment, but we played the Wizard of Oz scenario because they like Wizard of Oz a lot. Unfortunately, that was like the hardest difficulty scenario in that box. So we were using up a lot of hints, even though I have played the game before. I just like forgot a lot of it. But yeah, we also had a time limit. Like we had an hour to like finish playing the game, and we wanted to go look at the vendor hall and put it away, and then like we had to go to Cirque du Soleil. So I was like, okay, we can look at the hints and figure out. And then the Wizard of Oz had an extra thing at the end. It has different characters. It's a very unique one, I think, because you have different characters, and then they had optional goals that we didn't end up doing because we didn't have time. We're like, okay, let's just finish this and we're gonna go, because they wanted to look at the vendor hall too. My kids liked looking through the vendor hall. But that was fun. They really like Unlock games, and I mentioned that I've been playing the short adventures with them, but this was their first full Unlock adventure that we played. So that was neat. And that's like the perfect escape room game to play at a convention, because I probably mentioned this before, but like because Unlock is replayable, it's just a deck of cards. It's great for conventions. So yeah, that was all the games I played at Dice Tower West. And as I mentioned, I did some other convention stuff like painting minis. I painted a couple of minis. I painted a little dog. I'm showing on YouTube, but you cannot see in the audio. But like this dog, I did like a speed painting because we only had 10 minutes to paint it. So that was fun. And then I spent more time the next day on this pig, which like I got to use the bronze color, and it's like a pig holding a battle axe, which is cute. My kids also did some mini painting. They are really fast. One of my kids did like a crow and then like this weird monster thing. But yeah, like when they did the speed painting, that's like their normal painting takes 10 minutes, I guess. And my other kid had like this little goblin thing, I think. He had a goblin thing and some sort of warrior thing. They like mini painting. Basically, the paint and take, you get to go in, pick a mini, they have the paints there and all the supplies, and so you just paint it and you take it home. And we always like going around the vendor hall too. My kids like spinning wheels, they get free stuff. Like the Bins and Bits place, we get like a little container of stuff. They got to spin a wheel somewhere else and got cubes and dice. They got lots of stickers. I actually bought a couple of games. There was a Taiwanese board game publisher there, so I got Touch It, 2 games of it. One is Pop Culture and one is Marine Life. So these are actually games that I had wanted to get when I went to Taiwan a couple years ago, but I didn't find it there. So I was very excited to see it. But this is a game where it's like a speed game, and the cards have kind of embossed backs, but they have pictures on the front, like 4 different pictures, and then you're feeling under the card to see which picture it is. So I think that's really unique and neat. So we bought those. That's the only games that we got. My mom actually won a raffle at the Bonds meetup. I think I already mentioned that we went to the Bonds meetup, but yeah, my mom won a game. I think she got Shake That City. So that's cool. And then on Friday night, before we played Quicksand and Take Time, I saw Grant Lyon's show. Grant Lyon is a board gamer and a comedian. So he now has a comedy show about board games, and he's going to be like touring the US too, which is pretty cool. So yeah, we got to see this comedy show, which was pretty funny. And yeah, so I liked that. It was like an hour show. And then also like the fire alarm, or like there was some sort of weird fire alarm going on near the end of it. And then like they're announcing, we're looking into why this is happening. And then they kept like repeating the announcement, and then they're like, okay, we figured it out. It's all fine. And they repeated that like 13 times too. But then he kind of like incorporated that into his bit, which was funny too. That was a fun show. And that was the only show I attended. We actually didn't go back to the convention on Saturday night. We were staying at an Airbnb because we usually like having our kids in separate rooms and having access to laundry. But like the convention parking, it was like $10 on Friday with in and out privileges. And so we're like, okay, that's cool. And then Saturday, it was $25, $26 with like the tax or whatever, the fee of paying online, which we have to do. So we got charged when we went out to lunch and we came back later, and then we got charged again when we went out to dinner, and we're like, wait, it's not in and out privileges. And so apparently it was not in and out privileges for Saturday. So we didn't go back Saturday night because we figured it wouldn't be worth it, like after our kids' bedtime, to go back for a couple hours and also get charged $26 again just to play like another game. So on Saturday night instead, we went to Night and Day Games, which is a game store that they had an ad for it in the convention pamphlet. And so this was my first time going. Toby had been there before. It had a really big selection. They also have like a membership where they have like a big library of games, and I guess people can go play. So that seems cool. And that's Night and Day Games. Night is spelled like a warrior knight, Knight, and day is spelled normal. But yeah, that was it for my Dice Tower convention. I do want to show the bag that we get. A lot of conventions you get a bag. This bag we got at previous Dice Tower conventions that I've had, like I had normal size bags, I think, but this is a very long bag. It's like 3 feet long maybe by like 7 inches wide and 1.5 to 2 feet tall. I don't know. The height is normal, but the width is very wide. But I guess it can fit like the big games. But yeah, it was fun. And now I'm going to cut to a segment with my kids. They're going to talk about their time at Vegas, which is some convention, but a lot of other stuff too.
Hello, I'm Kevin, and I have a journal I could show you. So it says, my travel journal, Kevin.
Yes.
This is it. And here it says things I saw, and it says Dice Tower West. Now we have things I did. See Caw. Circus Soleil, I saw Caw. It's a really fancy circus that your kids might like it. So, now, places I went. Treasure Island. I ate a buffet, is this one. And the best part is, okay, my favorite part, the mannequin store. So I feel like I really need to show you the pictures because there's really cool mannequins. Let's go ahead and show it if you would like.
Well, remember, this is a podcast, so a lot of people are just listening to the audio. So let's describe it. We went to a mannequin store. There's Las Vegas mannequins.
It's so cool. There were some of the mannequins had really funny faces with like opened up eyes that were like staring at you with blue lips and cartoony eyes, blue hair, and I also saw some Uncanny Valley mannequins. I saw a pregnant mannequin. I also heard music in there, of course, music. There's like Uncanny Valley mannequins that was actually tricking my brain. I saw a broken piano in there. I don't know what it was doing, but it was very colorful, which was weird. I also found this like mannequin that was like all different colors with a big green tail sticking out of it. I don't know what. Yeah, out of it. But I don't know what it was doing there. And there were some shiny mannequins. Some of the mannequins were very weird. And that's it, I have to say, with my mannequin store that I just saw. And I'm going to pass it over to my brother, Roy. And then I can talk more after. Hello, my name is Roy. And I have the same thing as Kevin has, the same folder. Sure. I ate pizza in there because it was pie day yesterday, or when I ate pizza. You probably don't know what yesterday is because the days pass.
Yes, so last Saturday was Pie Day, so we went and had pizza for dinner.
Yep, And we also went to Las Vegas. I saw Rome and the Eiffel Tower and the Statue of Liberty. And I saw a call just like Kevin. I also played some games like escape rooms. A Wizard of Oz one.
Yeah, so we played Unlock Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, but
The Wizard of Oz game. Did you like that?
yeah, it seemed like there were like infinity games in the board game convention. I mean, a lot of games. Whoops for saying infinity.
Yes, there were a lot of games because there's a big library, and you checked out the Unlock game. This was your first year you had your badge, right? So you got to check out a game. Was that exciting?
Yep.
What else did you do?
I painted minis. I had a lot of fun. I went to a clown party. It was super fancy. Well,
Oh, the circus party.
the
yeah.
circus party. And
That was by Bonzinator.
Bonzinator.
How many
Now
kids holding it?
we're out of the convention. I saw a lot of games in the casino, like Buffalo games, a lot of games. So
Yeah,
many
there,
games.
There were so many slot machines, right?
Yep. Gambling too.
Kevin, I wanted to ask you, can you talk about the convention? What did you like about the convention?
Oh, I liked mini painting. I liked the art table. I liked the Frankenstein slot machine. I liked the palace with cherubs and fountains.
When we went to lunch? At the
Yeah.
buffet? Okay, that was, we went to Bacchanal Buffet at Caesar's Palace.
I also liked my cereal at breakfast.
Okay, that
Lucky
doesn't have-
Charms.
Yes.
Let's get back for board game convention.
Yes.
I liked rolling the dice. I liked spinning the big wheel. I liked mini painting. I also liked drawing.
This-
The Bond meetup I
Yeah.
really liked.
Yeah, but speaking of drawing, this year they had a new art table by the mini painting. There was a couple of tables with art supplies like markers, colored pencils and other stuff and paper. And so artists could go meet there and draw, and that was really neat. So you liked drawing there, right?
Oh, yes. The Bond meetup I really liked because it was clown themed. I really like clowns. Circus themed. So I also liked Circus Soleil, which is kind of like the themed Bond meetup. And what I had for lunch today is sunny side up fried eggs and pancakes and bacon.
Did you play any board games that you liked?
Oh yeah, I really liked the Wizard of Oz game. It was so fun because I already watched Wizard of Oz, but we had to skip a bit since, because we ran out of time because we had to go to Circus Soleil. And Circus Soleil was really fun.
Yeah, we didn't have too much time at the convention, so we got to play one unlock game like full. Yeah, it was tough to get much gaming played or like much convention time at all, really. But we did go to the vendor hall a few times. That was when he was talking about rolling the dice and spinning the wheels. They did that and got some stickers and stuff.
Bye! I hope you had a great time.
All right, and so my kids were mentioned I don't know if they said what it was called, but it's called a travel journal, which they did for school because they missed a day of school, so they had some like homework stuff. But I printed out an extra one for myself, so I have a travel journal too, my travel journal, which I'm showing on the YouTube if you want to watch it. I colored in and drew some pictures. But so for things I saw, I saw a mannequin store. One of my kids already mentioned this, but we kept driving by this store called Las Vegas Mannequin. And I guess they sell mannequins to all of the stores in Las Vegas because they need a lot of mannequins. But they have it open to the public on weekdays. So on Friday, we just went in and they have a showroom and there were so many mannequins there. So yeah, that was interesting to see. It was very unique. All right, so, and then I have things I did. I played games, and I have a picture of craps and also us playing, I think I tried to draw us playing Take Time, but it's hard to tell what it is. And then places I went to see Ka. So Ka is Cirque du Soleil. On Saturday night, we went to see Cirque du Soleil, which was really exciting. So Ka it has a story, which I didn't quite understand the whole story, but like it was a story with fighting and lots of acrobatics and really cool stage effects. They had like this stage that moves, it goes vertically and then goes back down, and they had lots of lighting and projection and stuff. It was very impressive, and I don't think my kids like appreciated it as much as adults did, but they still liked it, and they had a lot of fun. So yeah, Ka was cool, but that was also part of why we were rushed when we were playing Unlock and didn't get to do as much convention stuff because we were doing all this. There's so many other things in Vegas that we wanted to do, so it's hard to fit in everything. And I ate everything because we went to a lot of buffets, like the food that we had. We had the steakhouse at Circus Circus, which was decent. Toby actually cooks pretty good steak, so I like his better. But they had actually their vegetables were really good. They had some really good asparagus. And then we went to the Bacchanal buffet, which is at Caesar's Palace, which we usually go to. And I like trying all the dessert there. It was pretty good. It had a lot of good stuff. And then we went to my new favorite Korean barbecue place. So it's called Hwaro 2, Hwaro. There's also a Hwaro without the 2, which is sushi, like next door or like down the block or something. But we went to the Korean barbecue. And I'm usually not like super into Korean barbecue. Toby loves it and it's his favorite now. But I liked all the meats except for brisket. I don't like brisket, but I liked the galbi was so good, and the steak was like tender, and whatever the sauces on there were really good too. And they also had like something called Hwaro rice, which was like rice with some sauce and egg on it, and you mix it all together, and that was really good. So yeah, I liked that. All you can eat Korean barbecue. So yeah, we ate a lot. And then I have my favorite part was spending time with my family. Yes, so my mom also came. She watches the kids at night, and so like my kids would play with her, and it was just fun, like all playing together and seeing my kids enjoying hanging out with us. And so like another thing we did was we stopped by Treasure Island. I think my kids mentioned that too. They wanted to see the ship. And so they were saying that Vegas was like Disneyland, I think because of all the decorations. There was a lot of things we wanted to do, and we did get to do a lot of stuff because we had planned shows and stuff to go to. But there are all these other shows, and my kids want to go to see more shows now too. But like there's also the convention. And so I kept being like, we have these tickets to the convention, but we're not going, and we're doing other stuff. And it's like, what? But we also want to do the convention. But I think my kids did really like the convention. They really liked the Bonds meetup too. They had a lot of fun with that. They liked doing the mini painting, and they like the unlock. So I think we're thinking of like going to Vegas sometime outside of the convention so we can just do Vegas stuff and then do the shows and stuff. And then maybe next time for the convention, we can just do convention stuff more. Maybe we'll stay at the hotel next time so we don't have to worry about parking or like, yeah, we need to figure out staying at hotel better because we haven't really stayed at a hotel with our kids, but I want to be able to because that would be nice. And I think the bed might be nicer too because our Airbnb beds were not very comfortable. But yeah, overall, this was probably like the least convention time I've had at a Dice Tower convention. But I'm glad I got to see Grant Lyon's show. That was exciting. And I got to play a couple games. So Take Time was my favorite game at the convention. I did buy some games. Oh, Toby also went to the flea market. I walked by. Oh, and at the flea market, Toby saw ProZD, who is a YouTuber voice actor who we both like. I didn't get to see him though. But he said he saw him walking around the flea market when he was there. And I was like, oh, but I didn't see him. So maybe next time. But yeah, ProZD's a big board gamer too. So yeah, that's it for my time at Vegas this weekend. It was only a few days. We need to go longer next time. It's hard to go longer now that my kids are in school and they had to like miss school, figure out flights and stuff. But we're thinking of doing Vegas maybe sometime in the summer, even though it's hot, because most of the time you're inside. Maybe do like Vegas stuff, and then next year, Dice Tower West, maybe we'll be able to do more convention stuff and play more unlocks, because my kids really loved the unlocks. That was like the game that they played all the way through and would have played more, whereas the other games they like wanted to stop early. So I think next time we're at a convention, maybe like I'll try. I don't know if our local convention has unlock in their library, but definitely next year at Dice Tower West, we'll try playing a bunch of unlocks. So yeah, that was my time. Let us know if you went to Dice Tower West. I'm sorry if I missed you. I wasn't there that much, as you know now. But yeah, let us know in our Discord or on Board Game Geek, like what you thought of the convention and what your favorite games were. But if you probably had slightly more selection of games than I did. And that's it for this week's Board Game Blitz. Visit our website, boardgameblitz.com, for more content and links. This episode was sponsored by Gray Fox Games. If you missed the Vampire Survivors the board game on Kickstarter, late pledges are still open on GameFound, so head over to grab your copy. And if you want to buy games at grayfoxgames.com, you can get 10% off everything in your order with the code BLITZ2026 at checkout. Join the Blitzketeer community on Discord for game nights, discussions, and more by following the link in the show notes. Support the show by leaving us a rating and review on your podcast provider or by getting some official Blitz swag at merch.boardgameblitz.com. Want to just give us money and enjoy some unique perks? Check out our Ko-fi page at ko-fi.com/boardgameblitz today. Our theme song was composed by Andrew Morrow. Until next time, at the Vegas convention, the hottest games that you can mention. Bye, everyone!